The universal law of cause and effect states that for every effect, there's a definite cause. In turn, for every cause, there's a definite effect. Your thoughts, behaviors, and actions create specific effects that manifest and create your life as you know it today. You're tuning into the Cause and Effect podcast, where we discuss society and culture the best way we know how.
Let's get it. Shout out to all our podcast listeners. We appreciate you. Thank you for rocking with us. And all our new listeners, welcome. This is the Cause and Effect podcast. I'm your host, Chico, accompanied by my guys, my friends, my brothers, Ralphie and Fernando. 3 Dominican men discussing topics and dope conversations. How you guys feeling?
Good.
Activo. Estamos vivos. We still here?
Estamos
You know, last episode, if you tuned in, we're in season 1 still, episode 2, and we talked about toxic traits. Now, in that conversation, you know, machismo or being a machista falls in toxic, but I feel like we felt like it's topic of its own, because as men that we are here today sitting on this table, we've experienced a lot of that we've experienced a lot of machismo in our life, or partook in machista acts, right? Not knowing, you know, that overly aggressive masculinity can be toxic. So as men and Latinos, we're all kind of boxed into that. When you talk about machismo, it's kind of like only towards Latino men, because even some people in other cultures are like, what is that? What is machismo? What is being a machista? And that derives from history, back from movies, where the guy that had all the women, the guy that, you know, held the household down and made sure that he put his foot down, and his wife wasn't allowed to do X, Y, and Z unless he said so. Yeah. Right? So in our household, I don't know about your household. In my household, I got to see a lot of, you know, my father took care of the heavy lifting. My mother took care of the heavy lifting when it came to the household. And they never, ever crossed any of those lines. My mother never worked a job. My father never cleaned the kitchen, cooked or cleaned, right? And that was normal in my household. But today, we live in society in a society where men pick up some of the chores of the household, right?
50-50 in the
50-50 now when it comes to rent, when it comes to cleaning, when it comes to everything, right? Women want equal rights, and that's understood. Equal partnerships, perfect. Yeah, and that's understood. I think that sometimes men could do that when it comes to like taking care of all the heavy lifting, as far as when it comes to bills and all that. When they just feel like they don't want that burden to be on the woman, especially when you have kids involved already. You have kids, and you're just like, well, she has enough already taking care of the kids. You know, let's say 70% of the time, because even however equal you want it to go, the mother has to be the nurturing. So if she's in the household, if she's taking care of the kids, that's going to come apart. That's a part of her job title, right? Mm-hmm. As men today, did you guys ever look at your household growing up, like now reflecting, and said, damn, there wasn't a lot of emotional support maybe on the men's side, right? In you guys' household, it was mostly women. So how did that... Yeah. Because for me, I had my father, but it was more of like, I never really was able to express my emotions until I was older with my father, or like very old, like 25, 20, not 20, 19, 8, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's when I was able to open up, and I understood it was okay to be vulnerable with another man, especially my father. Yeah. But for you guys, how long did that journey take, or how was that struggle?
It didn't take long for me. No? I figured that out from the gate, because I was raised by a woman.
True.
A woman in my life. That's what I had.
So you already had more of that.
I was more
emotional, stable,
emotional
mindset.
Intelligence.
Okay, emotional intelligence.
I grew up with emotional intelligence. I understand when I walk into a room, I could read it, you know, from a young age, because that's what women do. If you really think about it, like a woman, she could read a man, she could read the situations, and they're more intuitive. Not so much by the words, but by the way a person express themselves and carry themselves and stuff like that. I grew up with that. I grew up watching women, you know, dealing with men, and that's another reason why, when I was a teenager, I used that for my
Your
own,
advantage.
I guess for my own selfish advantages, right?
Yeah.
Because I understood like what a woman liked and what a woman didn't like, because I saw what my aunts did, I saw what my mother did, and I saw what my babysitters went through and stuff like that with men and stuff like that, and them talking and gossiping. I was young, I didn't understand it so much at the time, but then as I got older, it kind of started clicking in and making more sense to me. And
You
I'm
know
like,
what? You know what to
oh.
say at the right moment to get into the box.
Este tipo, the way he's framing it, right?
Wow.
I'm just saying. Is that
no, you're
I can
right.
say that I learned that
Yo,
too. I was very good at doing that.
You're
We're
right.
two serious Dominican men. We're not all about the
No,
box,
we're
all
God. We're
No.
God. We're God.
We're
We're
not
man.
all
We
about
are,
the box.
and we're
We're
Dominican.
faithful. We don't
faithful
play none of
Dominicans.
that. You know what I'm saying?
It's
That was
not
our
all about
old
the box.
self. That
Exactly. We shed it off
Yeah.
that shell.
was our. Oh, so you never had
No,
that.
never, nunca.
Okay.
Come on.
Well,
And he's taking a
Fernando's.
sip to that.
How much?
Yeah,
'Cause he knows.
He's drinking his sins away.
No, but I didn't have to. When it came to all of that, I didn't have that boundary. I didn't understand that boundary. I never really grew up with that boundary. I had an idea of it, movies, TV shows, and hearing other people talk about it. But me personally, being raised with a woman is like. That was the advantage that I had. I feel growing up. I'm like I got more in touch with my sensitive side. You know what I mean? More in touch with my feminine side, which what people like to refer to, I guess.
I
And I
find
got-
that to be kind of rare too, and I want to just cut you off
Yeah.
there, just because there's some men that overcompensate because they don't have that,
Yeah.
like that manly figure. So they don't know what a man is, and they kind of just look at whatever their environment is, and they create like this image, right? And sometimes they become overly aggressive, overly masculine to mask that emotional side that they know they have.
Yeah.
But because they didn't have that father figure, maybe they overcompensate for that and either become like this toxic machista.
And that
No one
and,
was there for guidance.
no, and that could definitely it'd be easier for anybody to just
Go on that side,
Yeah,
right?
go on that side. Me, I was blessed that I had feedback coming from people outside of myself telling me that I had some good, like the way that I was, it was good. But then at the same time, I was raised in the hood. I was raised around
So you
men.
had reinforcement.
I had reinforcement when it
Okay.
came to that part, but I also understood that, to be a man, I needed to be a certain way. So like growing up in the hood and growing up seeing people doing certain things, I feel like I had to be a part of that in order for me to be, an alpha male, I guess, around myself.
Exactly, because
You know what I mean?
that's what. All right, so I wanted to look up the definition, right, of machismo, and I want to circle back to that conversation
Yeah.
because, there was people just discussing that there is no such thing as machismo per se. It's
Yeah.
more of acts of machismo,
Yeah.
which you become like a part of a group, which
Yeah.
is a machista. You believe in a certain lifestyle. You believe that women are there to serve you. They can't do things without you allowing them to do so. Sometimes it gets to the extreme where you kind of take ownership of them as a being. There's also the side of you got to be the person with the biggest chest out, in a sense of I'm the toughest,
Yeah.
I'm the meanest, I'm the most ruthless.
But deep down, you soft. In many
Yeah,
cases, deep down, they
cases,
soft.
Most cases.
But they
most
gotta play
cases.
the image because that's what they are taught. That's what they're like, and that's the problem. Me, I did it backwards. Thank God. You know what I mean? I'm
Yeah,
grateful
yeah.
that I did it backwards. You know what I mean? I figured out how to be more in my feminine side, and then I tapped into more of my masculine side. 'Cause I figured out,
I
like,
think that makes you stronger.
it does. I feel like
You never
it does.
you never seen them like in the commercials stuff like that, like the tough guys like with the bike and
Yeah,
the tattoos and
yeah.
shit, and then they go home to like a little fluffy dog, like oh,
The little white fluffy dog. Oh, like at home they're like más sensitive, but outside they gotta play a role. And that's a lot of men though. A lot of men, inside in their heart, they are,
that
hurt.
shit eats people.
They're
alive,
hurting.
though. Like
Huh?
that shit gotta eat people alive.
Of
It's like,
course
you
it
gotta
does. A
be
lot of
someone-
guys deep down I feel like they suffer, but it's just like, they gotta play it tough.
Silently, because you're
Yeah.
taught not to
A
show your
men
emotions.
It
cannot cry. A man are not allowed to cry. You crazy?
It gets to a point where you don't know how to react. Like it has
And
to
that's
get to that
why
point
it comes
where
out
it's
like violent sometimes.
Where like your emotions are so confused, you're just like, whatever. But like, just like,
Exactly.
like you just
Because
like spaz out. Like,
you're kind of pushing away the fact
Yeah.
that you do want to cry, or
Yeah.
that you do feel
or
some
you want to
type of way
react
about it,
bad,
react.
or you feel,
And let's take this in
pity about
perspective,
someone.
right? A strong machista, a strong or exaggerated sense of traditional masculinity, placing great value on physical courage. So domination of women and aggressiveness. So you show a lot of value in being tough
Yeah.
and just, just put your dick on the table in a sense. Like you just yeah, pretty much, right? Like you're just saying, hey, I'm the biggest dude in the room, and I'm gonna prove it.
Yeah.
And most of the time, at least surveillance, there's a lot of growth. I've been seeing. I know this has been around for many years in third world countries, but we've been seeing more of it online where men feel like their masculinity was hurt, or their let's say more their pride and ego was hurt because of certain things women can do nowadays that weren't looked at as something they could do or even allowed. And they want to like control that, and to the point where it's out of their control, and they go to the extreme of taking someone's life. Like when I think about machismo, when a man is a machista, I believe that they can get to that extent and that extreme, whether it's women or another human being, another man, by going to that extreme of, I'm gonna prove to you that I'm the one. I'm the macho here. Like I'm the guy. You can't disrespect me. You can't mess with me. You can't play with my ego. And why we decided to talk about that is because, again, we want to address these things that are normalized, that are stereotyped in our culture, and put them front and center and say, yo, it's 2021. Obviously, there's movements that speak on these things and are against this stuff. But as young guys, we also realize that it's in little aspects of our lives to this, regardless. Like I said, in my household, my father is the breadwinner. My mother was the one that was here to nurture and care. And we get hurt sometimes when a girl tells us, I make more money than you. You should be home taking care of the kids, and I'll go and work. Like, is it wrong to feel like you're less of a man?
Or when other men
if
ask
something like that happens?
Or when other men ask you, like, oh, what do you do now? Just stay home, take care of the man. And your wife? Oh, she's working.
So she got the dick in the relationship.
She got the pants.
It automatically goes into that realm.
Because
Like, how do you guys feel about that? Like, I think that you shouldn't feel less of a man if that's the case. But how do you guys feel? Because I still feel kind of weird if that was my situation.
Of course.
It is
honestly
weird, but either or is still a tough job. Because, dude, like, I mean, around this pandemic, you know, my girl's been taking care of some kids in her house, and it's not easy. Like, it's really not. Like, I'm like, yo, these kids are driving me crazy. But like, imagine
women deal with that.
They deal with that.
They have more
every day.
patience
So
than
it's
men.
like, think about it. You go home, you go to work, and you do tough stuff for 8 hours or whatever the case is, and you know you come back home drained. But you have these kids at home all day, you're gonna be drained.
And you're not gonna have, and you have less time to yourself.
Less time to yourself. There's no escape. There's no, oh, let me go home and relax. Like let me clock out and go relax. No, there's no clocking out for
Home
them.
is your work.
Home
so
is work.
when does
Home
it turn
is
off?
everything.
I get that. I just feel like I just feel like men feel inferior, even in modern society today. When that's the case, when the woman is the one that's providing, and in a major way, and the man has to kind of like lay back, right? And he might not have everything figured out as well, you know. So we talk about alpha male, we talk about, you know, a healthy masculinity. I think a healthy masculinity in men is just taking responsibility for what you believe is your job to do, and you don't do it on a forceful way. You do it on a way where it's, look, let's talk about it, but as a man, I want to do this, like, as the leader of this household, I want to be able to let's talk about it, let's communicate, let's sit down. But I also need you to, in a sense, women look at this word as a negative word, submit, but it's really not negative. Like when you think about it, we were talking about this behind the scenes. Women don't want to be led, right? Like, and I said that in a sense where they think they're submitting to you. So that's what they fight submission because they look at submission as a negative word and a negative thing. So how some you know, I agree with that, some, but today it's being more and more pushed online, on social media, that women are this and that. You can't submit, so man, you're strong. Yeah. And yeah, you are, but the man has to be, you got to let the man kind of take the lead.
I think a man has to earn that. You know,
Okay.
That's why.
So
That's why I primarily disagree with the fact that a woman doesn't. A woman wants to be submissive to the man that she chooses. You know what I mean? It's her choice at the end of the day. Like, a woman still wants that. That's something that's not gonna leave, because a woman at the end of the day, she can't even make up what she wants to eat, let alone, you know what I mean, anything else. She wants a man to take charge. In many cases, it's not like something that you gotta declare. It's something that just comes naturally. Like, if a man is leading, doesn't matter if he could be a CEO, but if a man is man enough and has confidence enough in himself and his decisions, and he led them right so far, especially because you gotta prove yourself for a woman to freaking agree.
So does that mean that you can't make mistakes? And you
can make mistakes, but that's one thing. They like a man that could admit to his mistakes and man up and actually accept them and either work on them or not let them happen again, type of shit. You know what I mean? Like, a woman wants a responsible man at the end of the day. A man
with balance.
A man that's a man at the end of the day.
Balance and knows how to balance things around.
You gotta find women that understand that too, because today a lot of toxic things are celebrated, and women do play a part in that. You know what I mean? Like, we could look at both sides, as everybody plays a part in this ball game. You know what I mean? Like, a man has to prove himself, but a woman also needs to earn that too.
But men nowadays are being threatened tremendously, like you mentioned before. You know, when it comes to the job, when it comes to the position, when it comes to the house, you know what I mean? A lot of men are being threatened, and it's something fairly new to us. You know, your dad wasn't threatened. It's coming to you now. You know what I mean? Our generation is
threatened in what sense?
In the sense of, like, household chores, like you were talking about before. Like, now more men are taking more responsibility when it comes to either doing the dishes,
because now women are having
doing
more
cooking,
opportunity,
and women, and they work. They're both working. They're both working in your household. You know, you were blessed, and I feel like your parents' generation is probably one of the last generations that are able to, you know, enjoy that, having the wife at home who doesn't have to go out and work, and having the husband providing the bread. You don't see that often anymore.
And
you see that once in a rare blues, but not as much as before.
Nah,
and
people be surprised when they say, "Yo, your man takes care of everything."
Yeah.
Oh, what does he do?
There's some wives that
you still see that, but not as often.
Yeah.
There's some wives that work, come home and do all the cooking and cleaning.
Yeah.
And then the man does 2 jobs.
That too.
They do like that as well.
So now it's so diverse now for men, and that's why a lot of men are having this battle with, like, what is to be a man? What does it take? Like, you know what I mean? Especially
does it make you less of a man if you're, you know, we can stay on a little bit on as far as finances, because that's a major way where it can play with a man's ego when it comes to money, right? Because also you have other men that might be in a better position, and your girl is out in the field. And she might be working, and she might come across these people. So now you're worried.
Especially like, she works with these people that make money.
You get what I mean? Like, now she's impressed. You know, how does my girl not get impressed by this stuff? You know, now you gotta have to also kind of figure out what value you bring to the table. That's just not. It's just you're not gonna find that. It makes you irreplaceable. And to this day, like we were talking prior, you got women that are making twice what a man makes in a year on OnlyFans.
Does that make you insecure?
It's like, what?
It does.
It can make you. I think it would make me insecure. I think I would have to have a real conversation with myself and with my girl about that, because it comes down to this: you're getting exposed to new things now, right? And as guys in this generation right now, there's just so much going on. You have access to these influencers online, right, that have this following. There's women that can get, you know, swept off their feet by that or by it. Now, again, it depends on who you're dealing with, because, again, if you have a good woman in your life, it's more about what you're doing wrong that can lead her to doing those things, right? Because if you're a good guy and she's a good girl,
and she's happy with you,
if she's happy with you, you're not gonna have to worry about much of somebody taking over unless you're slacking in certain areas in your life. So as men, you know, that's a personal inventory that we have to take within ourselves if we see that she's taking interest in other people. But there's some women that it just happens. They get impressed by somebody that's just pulls up, and you're like, oh shit, this is new, and you're interested in me, someone like me, because some women don't put themselves up in this pedestal where they're like, they feel like they're the big shit. Yeah. Some women don't even notice when men are checking them out. Like, genuinely, like women that are about their business and not really paying attention to what's going on in the outside. Yeah, that can happen. But as us, like, let's talk about us right here, right? Because I can't speak for other men. For me, I would have that conversation. I'll be like, you know, what are our plans, like, or give her a vision of what our lifestyle can be. Because if you don't have a vision for your household or for your partner, they're kind of just walking in fog with you. You know, they're just like unclear, especially if your job is unstable or your career isn't a career like a lawyer or something in that range, high income providing. They're kind of scared too, because they're like, if we have a kid, then we might struggle for a while. And women don't want that at all. Like, don't care how women want to say, oh, I'm gonna start from the ground up with my man. Yeah, you could say that until a kid's involved. You can say that until, you know, you're thinking in the future, you start
until
looking at
live
where's
in a good
the
house.
security at. That plays a part too. Like, I'm sure that women have these conversations with their homegirls. Like,
of course,
you know, I hope my man really like is serious about this, because you know, he's playing games with right now and he's not really making any money and he's kind of just comfortable where he's at. They have these conversations. They might not tell you about it. They definitely have these conversations.
They might give you like a few.
Over there in the studio every fucking day. I don't see no money coming in.
Yo, listen. Yo, listen, babe. I'm in the studio right now. We building, baby. We building.
Working, you know?
Now you gotta give that reassurance. Like, if you that dude that's not really, you gotta have a good dick. Then you gotta really give that good dick, cause she gotta have something.
You gotta put on the table.
She gotta have something to be like, yo, my man, like he puts it down crazy. Like, I can't leave him.
I can hold on for a little longer. Let me see what's gonna show.
That's toxic
This
shit.
is mad toxic, but hey,
I give him a year.
That's true, man. You gotta have something, bro. You gotta have. Listen, you gotta have some value.
Same conversation.
You got a dick though. You ain't listen.
You gotta have some value in your, like, if you don't have, you have bad dick and no money, dog, you fucked up. Like,
yeah, you
better believe she gonna be messing with somebody else.
Boy.
It's over for you, baby. She out down the street with Jimmy, the fucking pro trainer over there. Yo, listen, nigga, don't know what you doing. You gotta get your game up.
Oh man.
Nah, but
Oh shit.
outside of finances, right? Because we're gonna open up a whole different conversation if we go down that route. But let's talk about values, like morals. People that have that machismo, that machista mentality, they also police women on how they dress. Do you ever feel like you've ever been in a position where you kind of like found yourself saying, yo, you going out like that? That's crazy. Like, and you kind of like put your foot down and say, nah, you're not wearing that. And you sound crazy. You sound like somebody's dad. You ever felt like, I've had that moment and I've had it been checked like, yo, the fuck you mean? And that comes with you like taking ownership of somebody, right? Like, as right as it sounds in your head to say something like that, when you really put it on the table, it's like, that sounds crazy. I'm telling her she can't wear that. Like,
you gotta finesse it though, boy.
You know, you gotta find a way to dress it better than
hey,
that,
baby, I mean, you look amazing on that dress, but listen, you really wanna go out with that today, though?
No, you want all that attention?
Can we throw something on?
You want all that attention? She's like, nah, but she secretly does want the attention. Like, yeah, nigga, you better act right, because I'm looking fine. Like, there's some women that want that. I used to say like this. That looks amazing. Like, are you gonna wear that to go to bed? That's
Oh shit.
That's bedroom vibes. Like, only us, you and I.
Yeah, you're gonna wear it downstairs, but then we gotta go upstairs with it.
Yeah, that's it. You're not leaving this household with that shit. And then I'll just make it like a joke, but. In all seriousness, like, that can become toxic. You can become controlling in that manner, and that's a form of machismo. Again, you're pushing an ideology on somebody.
Yeah, you can't wear
that
this.
They have to follow
you can
your
express
rules,
like this.
And if they don't follow your rules, the punishment is in aggressiveness, whether it's verbally or physically. And again, that goes to women and to men. You could be at a job and have that thing where I'm an employee, but I'm gonna act like a boss in here, and I'm gonna just like sit, like act like everybody else is littler than me. Like, you get what I mean? Like, there's people that you ever work with somebody that has these things where you tell them something and they're like, no, I did that already. Like, it's like they can't get checked for anything. Like, yo, I had coworkers that I'll be like, yo, you know that you did this job last, like, it was a little fucked up. When I worked in, let's say, in Raymond Flanagan, I worked with older men, some of them Latino, and when you would check them on some things, they would do like, yo, you forgot this order back there, and I picked it up and was like, nah, I was gonna go get it right now. Like, you bugging. Like, it was like they'd never they never said, yo, good looking, or yo, like it's never, they never received
They never
any type of
admit to it.
correct or criticism. Right. It's like, nah, I'm the one that knows what's up, and that's it, period.
I work with people like that right now.
And I think that falls in that conversation of machista and toxic, because again, you and then some of them approach you back in aggressive form. Like, again, it's kind of like a standoff. It's like you're battling with somebody, and you're just like, yo, what's all this animosity? And it's just like that person carries himself like, if you make me feel uncomfortable, my reaction is gonna be in a violent way. It's gonna be in a lash out. So we get categorized like that as Latinos, as the machismo, because one, we're told to like and have a lot of women. We gotta act like we're big shit even when we don't have shit. So it's like
be the moneymaker.
We gotta be the moneymaker, and anybody else has to fall in line because you're the breadwinner. So now, you know, I used to say this was like a strategy, right? Men would make women. It was like, have you guys ever seen the show Mad Men on Netflix?
I've seen the
Women were confined to work, to be home, or the only job they would get is a secretary.
Yeah.
Right.
Anything else is embarrassing.
Everything else is like, yo, they don't respect you, and men would kind of like hate on the fact that women got jobs that normally men were supposed to have, right? So I look at that show, and as I watch it, I'm noticing that it was like a technique of keeping the woman like boxed out from everything that's going on in the world, because they could live double lives. That's why how some people had two families, because the woman was home taking care of the family. The guy would go for business trips, and he'll be next town visiting his other family.
Deadass next town. Nobody would know.
Nobody would know. And again, you don't have social media, so you don't post your family online. And you could do this type of thing and really pull it off. Like, I have uncles that have been able to do that and live that life for years and years and years and years until the internet came out, right? Until you have access to things that you didn't have before. So what I'm trying to get at is that falls in line with that mentality, because it was beneficial for men to be able to have that ideology. Women supposed to stay home. Well, it's because we want them to stay there so they don't know what I'm doing out here. Yeah. So that all revolves around like what's been like self-fulfilling for us.
It's like men are losing that control, because that's just like a control. Like, we had a lot of control on women, keeping them home. You stay home, I can bring the bread, and I do what I gotta do outside.
You just worry about
don't worry about what's at home. I worry about everything else, and that's like controlling.
We know that kids take up a lot of your energy, so you're gonna be so tired. You're not gonna notice all the red flags that I'm out here on late nights.
Yeah,
work
meetings,
like come on, like it comes down to that. But now today, there's a struggle for that, because women don't. They have many ways to find you. They have many ways to see what you're doing, and they have many ways to just get in touch. And they're busy too, and they're bosses in their own way.
Most common one.
Some women are saying, "Yo, he playing games. I'm gonna go get a job, make mad money," and you're looking at her like, "Yo, you really left me." And your butt hurt, and you go out and do something. It's kind
of like when a man goes out and cheat like with 3, 4, 5, 10 women, and then a woman cheat. His girl cheats with one man, not even cheat, just makes out maybe.
Send him an apple.
Send him an apple. He gonna do me like that.
How you gonna do me like that?
Do me like that though. She forgave him like 10 times, but this nigga one time is like that's how you go. No, our egos is really freaking like, we gotta own it. We can't share it at all.
I think
you can share us, but we can't share you.
That's a thing though. Like, that's a mindset. That's also another thing. Like, men are supposed to have multiple women. Women are supposed to just be with one man.
One man, that's it.
And that's me.
You know,
like if you're with me, that's it.
You know, there's a man. I read this article about this man in India that has 39 wives.
39 wives.
39 wives, 94 children.
A lot of Viagra.
94 children, 33 grandchildren.
Yeah. Nah, dude tiene, como dicen en Santo Domingo, la punta de oro.
Loco.
That nigga is crazy.
You know, I forget about some of my wives. I mean, that's my wife. I forgot about her.
I forgot about you.
I'm sorry, babe. I gotta go.
I gotta go.
I've been smashing these two all week.
I forgot about you. Like, damn. I gotta put you on my calendar. Hold on.
Damn, Christina, where you been at? It's been like 10 years I haven't seen your ass.
I got a 2-year-old already? Damn. When did this happened. I didn't even notice.
That's crazy.
Yo, that's some is though. But no, that in some
Wow,
countries it's
bro.
okay to have, and you see,
That's in India.
that's another thing too. I'm glad you pointed that out because it's cultures. At the end of the day, in America, it's like how we talking about right now. We're talking about American culture, but we're not talking about Indian culture. It's a different story.
That's part of that's religious in a sense too,
Religious
right?
and beliefs.
There's-
There's some
religion?
religions that allow men to have multiple women wives,
Yeah.
and that's in their culture.
You
That's
got
in
5
their,
wives. You can have 10 wives, whatever you want,
Absolutely.
and they have to be okay with
That's
you
perfect
having
that you
it.
said that.
Oh my God.
Hey,
Yo, I remember playing this song and my girl looking at me like, that's how you feel? And I'm just like,
It's a vibes, you heard?
oh, when this song came out, bro, it was a toxic era.
Como viene,
like we believe, like I truly said, this is like
This
the
is
life.
that's life. That's life.
10?
The absence,
I'm like,
baby.
if he got that, he's wilding right now. Damn, I want to be like Poeta Callejero.
The absence is out there.
Hey man, you gotta just turn into
But
whatever
that's-
culture allows that. That's it.
Right? Go move over there because you be all right.
You be good.
Go to India.
Go to India. And I mean, I'm thinking about it.
I think it
Oh,
was.
yeah.
I keep it a beam, bro. I think it was in India that I saw a video of a man, walking himself to the police station after he cut his wife's head because he found her cheating with the neighbor.
Wow.
Yeah. So I if I'm not mistaken, it was definitely in India because as you say that, I'm like, that was something that I read and I saw a video. Like they kind of blurred the head,
Of
but
course.
homie was walking with his wife's
Twisted.
head, dog. That's extreme shit. I know somebody personally that killed his girlfriend because she was still texting through WhatsApp with her ex in Dominican Republic. And he killed her, he shot her, wrote a suicide note, and then killed himself. You know, rest in peace to those to those people involved in that. But that comes to show you, man, that when you don't check these things, they can go that far.
Yeah.
And if you identify some of these traits in your friends, in your family, it's good to have a conversation because we're aware. We're aware of all this shit. Like, we joke about it, but this shit is serious as fuck. Because you can go as far as somebody losing their life or you having to do life in jail because you just couldn't hold, like you couldn't stop yourself and you couldn't
Have a different mindset about it.
I want to just say that you just couldn't have the emotional stability to just calm down and say, nah, this isn't worth that. I can just
Take
let
a
her
second,
be. I
yeah.
can take a second to
Take
breathe.
a second look at it.
And
another way.
and sometimes take accountability. You know how we talked before and conversations where it's sometimes you don't want to admit that you're wrong, and then she might be right for cheating on you or for moving on because you were a piece of shit, or maybe you just didn't pay attention or you wasn't there for her. Like
Or
it
you
falls
got
on some of the
comfortable.
things you do too. So why are you
course.
mad at her and want to take her life because she went on and did something that was better for her because you were slacking in certain areas. So again, that falls back on the man to also analyze, check your inventory. Yo, am I being supportive emotionally to my wife? Am I, if I'm not doing my job as a man, what am I projecting for the future for us?
Yeah.
What am I working towards?
So
and
people get
how am I? Yeah, exactly. You get comfortable, and then all that shit goes down the drain. She starts finding interest in somebody that's working on himself daily, that looks good, that takes care of his physical, that's mentally getting some type of information and teaching something new. Because women also like when you teach them things.
Yeah.
If you're not that you make them feel stupid, but you teach them things, and you just say, hey, if this is something that I do on a daily, like let me show you how I record and do these videos.
You're so
Oh my
smart.
God, how do you do those transitions on your videos? That's so cool. Like you're so tech savvy, and I'm just like, yeah, yeah, I got this shit.
I was gonna say so. We can't say that.
You can bleep it out. Go ahead, say it. We can bleep
Nah.
it. Go ahead, say it. Say it.
smart. Rub your dick.
Oh my God.
You're so smart.
Oh man. Oh, Fernando, man, that would be a great great click. Like that would be a great click. We might not bleep it, dog.
Nah, you be alright.
Nah, but getting back to the conversation,
Yeah.
you know, in all seriousness, we gotta be able to identify these things in ourselves, because again, it's very common in our culture. Like, you guys seen those movies where the man that fights everybody off, has all the women, is like the star, right? Doesn't that create a certain expectation for the person growing up seeing that? Subconsciously, doesn't it make it? It's like watching porn. When you watch porn, you set these expectations where you gotta last an hour to be a good, sex experience.
Yeah.
But in all reality,
Yeah.
just at least make it a 5 minutes. Like, don't go crazy. But if you last, 4 minutes, you feel like, I'm not good.
Yeah, no, porn is the worst teacher, bro. That's how I learned. That's how I learned how to have sex, and it's the worst teacher, bro. It's the worst teacher because you forget to get intimate, and you're just so focused about your performance. Don't focus too much. Like, we can be so focused on the performance. We gotta focus primarily on the emotions that are being exchanged, and you know what I mean.
Yeah, if
Yeah,
that
it's
energy they being exchanged.
Yeah, exactly, man.
This is the thing.
That
Because
connection.
I laugh because when I think about that, I know family members, so I have many family members that come from the Dominican Republic that have this mindset, right?
What? So about the stroke?
No.
I mean, the stroke do matter.
No.
Stroke matter.
That's a shirt.
The stroke
The
is
stroke
one.
matters.
The stroke matters, right? That's a shirt. The stroke does matter, but
Wait for it. You gotta wait for that. That's coming soon, yo.
they ask he doesn't have a lot going for himself. He drinks a lot, and he normally has a couple like girls around him, and they're not always the best looking, but he has girls. And you ask him, yo, ¿qué lo que tú haces that you're getting all these women, and you're a low life in a sense, right? They basically say that
It's
in a nice
fucked up.
way. ¿Cómo que tú consigues estas mujeres? That's like saying, yo, you
Aburrido.
piece of shit, how the fuck you get this? Right? So he says that when he's having sex with them, él le da una trompa en la costilla.
What?
El golpe íntimo. It's like some shit. It's like some shit. It's like some shit because as soon as somebody said that, somebody else was like, "Oh, I've heard of that." I'm like, "Wait a minute, what are you talking about?" He says like,
what?
"Tú le das como un golpecito en la costilla y se enamoran," and that's how he says that he gets women to fall in love with him. But again, I don't recommend this, and I don't think this is.
I don't think it's literal.
I don't think this is something that should be shared or done. You can really hurt somebody, and that can become a battery charge or whatever, a physical assault
I wouldn't
charge.
know what that
I don't
would
think
call.
you should do
I
that.
don't know.
But
I don't get it. I never heard that before. But
le da
that's
una
different.
trompa en la costilla y
You know that in the country,
I was blown. Like, this is real thing? Like, are you kidding me?
That's different.
you know that I heard now in France or something like that, you gotta get basically you gotta come to an agreement with the partner you're having sex with before sex that you could choke them. Like, is it okay for me to choke you during sex? Like, you can't
You
just
gotta consent to that
randomly.
shit.
Yeah, you gotta consent.
Because there's been
You can't
cases where somebody dies.
That sounds like some
You
rapper
suffocate
shit.
them.
Can't
Like, if I'm a
randomly-
rapper, I gotta get a consent. Like, you know what I mean? That's like
You gotta consent.
Like,
I
if you're a
make-
rapper, like I don't know.
Oh,
a
okay, you
Drake
mean
or something.
like she gotta write,
Yeah.
she gotta have a consent, and also
And that's
agreement
snitching?
that
Yeah.
you can't discuss
This
whatever
may-
happens in this room.
This may get aggressive during the middle of this.
You might
Imagine-
experience some choking.
Like, these are the disclaimers, and then when you do it, you're like, "What the hell you doing? Like, you didn't read the disclosure? Like, I told you on the paper this was gonna happen.
You
You
signed
wrote
that.
it.
You
You
signed
signed it off. You signed it
Yo,
off.
I think that we should edit that. I don't know. I think that sounded crazy. Maybe just bleep that shit. That was crazy. This nigga said, too late. I got the agreement over there. I got my lawyers ready.
Oh my god,
That's
this is
crazy.
terrible.
That's some rich dude. That's some rich
Oh
nigga
my
shit. Like,
God.
you gotta be rich to do some shit like that.
Yeah.
It's the drink.
It's the drink. It's the
I'm sorry.
Kirkland. It's the Kirkland.
This
the Kirkland
cheap
bottle.
ass shit we got here.
Hey,
Hey, man.
yo.
You're gonna find out tomorrow how it is. You heard? Let's see how you wake up.
All right. Damn, bro.
This is how you wake up. Man, listen. That's all. That's all. That's all we had.
Yeah.
That's all we have here.
That's pretty much it, man.
We just wanted to highlight and really just center on the fact that we as a culture should not celebrate these things anymore. We should not let it be a stereotype for our culture, and we should police it when it's being done around us, because in all reality, again, it doesn't lead anywhere good. And we can avoid the loss of lives, the incarceration of men that go down that route.
And learn to adapt.
And adapt, man. There's
adapt to
women are powerful beings. Women have value, and they're showing it every single day more and more outside of the household. So we should be men and just embrace that and say, yo, we're a power together. So now that you have a place in society to provide as equal or more, let's use that and propel ourselves forward instead of feeling like you have to stop that person because you're jealous of their success, because they're overshadowing yours, or they're making you feeling less of a man. That's your problem. That's an inner problem, and that's something that you have to figure out and try to overcome. Because it's not going to change. Women are going to continue to grow. Women, society is going to continue to change.
Women are powerful.
Yeah.
Women are very smart.
That was what I was saying. Women can do more moving in their head than men sometimes. Men, again, that's why we shined in the labor aspect of things. But now everything's becoming mental game, and women are getting in their bag, and they're really showing out that they have the mental capacity, they have the patience, and they have the nurturing care to be able to be good at customer service, at the same time sell you on things.
Dude,
because
women can draw both. Women can draw, women and men. There's certain men that they can't have that connection with certain women. They don't feel as comfortable, like even on customer service or selling something. They just like, nah, I don't want to talk to a man. I want to talk to a woman because they feel more comfortable. But woman has both. Because it's like a man wants to talk to a woman.
They welcome.
And another woman
they feel warm.
wants to, exactly. So it's very It's
embrace that shit. Embrace that shit. You can't fight it.
And us men, we gotta embrace it. Also,
do better.
Just
that's Fernando's quote right there. Just do better, guys. We gotta do better.
Do better.
That's all. Well, thank you for tuning into the Cause and Effect podcast. Please make sure to like, share, and subscribe on our YouTube. Go on the podcast apps, all of them. Go to www.causeandeffectpod.com. Get you Cultura hoodie or Cause and Effect hoodie. We got new colorways in. Continue to support and thank you. Let's get it, man.